Hi.
Hey guys, it's been a couple of weeks since we've hopped on here, so tonight we just wanted to say how to do and share a little bit of something that's just kind of last minute formulated on our hearts and minds, and that's about giving space. And what are some areas or some moments that we need to, or that would be really really healing, I suppose, to give some space in.
So like you're saying, what times can you give space to help the other person or help yourself in a moment?
Okay, so
is that what you're asking? I'm just trying to make sure I get what
so
you're
maybe
saying.
so maybe let's see, what do we mean by giving space, I suppose, to start with. So and some of us perhaps can, when we are faced with a confrontation or where we get triggered in our hearts, in our emotions about something that comes up, we tend to start rushing in. Okay, so that's in one of the four, I suppose.
That's probably
the fight. So perhaps we're speaking tonight more on the fight aspect of it. I don't know, probably even like clamming up, or things like that. So there's a difference between like flight, like running away, and for I'm just gonna turn this off so it's not making noise. Like there's a difference between flight and giving space, or clamming up. What's that one? Freeze,
Freeze.
and giving some space. So what do we mean by giving space?
Well, I think too it can mean different things. Like sometimes it is that like physical need of distance. But I know even recently in a coaching session, I was being coached and just doing some heart work in the midst of working through something. What my heart really wanted was like a witness in the pain. Like it was, and it wasn't like I needed someone actively there, but I just needed that witness. So I feel like sometimes
that sounds a little vague.
Okay.
What does witness mean? Like you being with yourself, or like in a...
Well, it was in an encounter. Are we ready to talk about
Okay.
encounters?
Okay.
I was trying to be vague because we haven't really explained encounters on these, but I can try if you want me to.
No, just go ahead.
Am I gonna freak people out?
No, just go ahead. Like what? So
okay,
giving that space aspect.
So what? Okay, so maybe this will help. So as I was working through this, I was realizing how I can even apply this to my own children, like one child particularly. As I was working through this in myself, I was thinking, you know what? When this particular child is upset, this child doesn't need physical space. This child needs me in the same room with them as they're experiencing those big emotions, those sad, scared, lonely things, but without me trying to fix them or even tell them they're okay. It's just kind of like being in the proximity. So it was like, for me, that was a different way of looking at giving space. But I feel like that can be a form of giving space where you're in physical proximity, and maybe especially with children, they need that like assurance of your physical presence. But it's not like this pressing in and pushing in on them, or like, let me help you even, or comforting. They just kind of need space. Sorry. push. So that's one, like that would be a more subtle, vague type.
One thing that really comes to mind when you like giving space, even if it's like for yourself or for another person, giving space is purposeful. So it's not just, it's distinct from running away, because running away is not purposeful, it's a reaction. But giving space is actually a purposeful thing.
It's proactive,
and it's proactive. It's not reactive, and it's also what's the word? I'm losing it here. I had kind of a hard time today formulating thoughts here. It's also like you're doing it you're working together with that person. You're like,
Yes.
so what do you call it? It's also relational.
Mhm.
I need some space right now to like process through some of my reaction.
But you're not abandoning the person or the relationship
Right.
by doing that.
And you're
It's
letting them know
Mhm.
I'm taking some space.
Yeah.
You have I don't know if it's a right or whatever like that, but you have the ability as an adult to take some space
Yeah.
and to say, please give me a little bit of space. I just need to take some space right now. I'm gonna step aside and just take some breathers, just to calm down and things. We talked about triggers already, and we talked about how learning about those or learning that you are entering into a trigger early on in the game, and taking space is part of one of those part of the way that you can counter or slow down that trigger rate.
Yeah.
Okay, so
And that,
taking some space, doing some breathing, taking deep breaths, even just getting more oxygen to your body helps your brain say, okay, wait a minute, guys, time out here. We're not in crisis mode. We're not in we're not in an emergency mode. I'm actually okay, because that's what a trigger does. Your brain just starts kicking into, I'm not okay. I'm freaking out here, but it's actually, when you get more oxygen to your brain, you step aside, you look around the room, find objects that are like tangible things. Your brain starts like connecting to those things, and then your brain can start saying, okay, wait a minute, hold on here. Your emotional brain can slow down, and your logical brain can kick in and be like, okay guys, let's time out here. We're okay, actually. What she said or what he said or what they did or something like that is not the end of the world. And we can slow down.
Yeah. I was just thinking that giving space in that way that Tate was just talking about, with like being relational about it, like letting the other person know, that is so helpful and has been a really, really helpful tool in our marriage. Like especially with Tate, because I'm the type that tends to more press in when things are like iffy or something.
Fix it right
and
this second or else.
or like I've got to know, like, what can I do, like what did I do wrong or whatever. And so it's been really, really helpful for him to be able to learn to say, I just need some space, I'm just processing. And that helps me know, okay, I can give him that. It's not this even huge thing that I can conjure up that, oh dear, I did something to him or whatever. It's just, he needs space. So just, I don't know, it just kind of like lowers the stakes and de-intensifies and depersonalizes it when you're in a tense or a triggered moment, or one of you is in your coupleship.
I think that's probably one of the best advantages of putting some language to some of the emotions that we're feeling, like triggers and stuff like that. They sound kind of weird to people who aren't used to it, and I understand that. It was weird for me too, but I think that's like one of the best advantages of like putting language to some of those things, is because it helps your brain like connect to something that's just out there and not really connectable. So it's just one little kind of side point. But yes, relational.
I was just thinking, then the other thing is giving yourself space. And personally for me, this is like spacing myself away from the shame and blame, or
that's what I was thinking
inner critic, and giving, like, actually thinking and listening to my heart, like, what is my heart really saying it needs right now?
Right.
Yeah, like just listening in to what's really going on internally, instead of just like judging everything that's coming out.
I messed up, so I have got to double down and just pound it, into like getting back on the right road, which that's obviously that's what we want, but I found it so much more successful. Right, getting to the right road. Found it so much more successful to actually just take some space and ask, like, give my heart, what are you really needing? What do you really want? What were you looking for when you messed up? What were you looking for? And usually, pretty fairly right away, I can identify what was I really wanting. I wanted more connection. I wanted more like assurance. I wanted like my fears to be alleviated. Okay, well I can go to Father and I can ask him about that. He can come and just meet that need. So shall we stop there?
Sounds good.
Have
10
a good
minutes.
have a good one. See you guys.